Hi guys, welcome to Lead Empowered. I wanted to spend a couple minutes with you tonight because something happened today that, in all reality, it's an inexpensive and pretty simple fix, but it's the invasion that feels worse and more costly than the part that's broken. We have cars parked on the street and had someone just take advantage of that, and so it's frustrating. But the bigger thing is what happens inside of you, and I think for me, there's so many things. I always have an ongoing what's next, and I want to. One of my things is getting quail. I want to get quail. I want to make a solar distiller, and I have this ongoing list of things that I wanted to get done this summer. The soldier flies. We made the soldier fly bin, and then we haven't gotten soldier flies because I'm hesitating because I know they die at below 55 degrees. And so I feel like our summer is running short on being able to make them worth the investment this year, even though they're a pretty small investment, so I should probably just do it. But it's having the power, and I think that is something for me when things like stuff that happens today, that invasion of, it feels like invasion of safety and invasion of power and invasion of my space, my property, my it's in my mind. What am I giving them though? And so I have to be careful not to give them my safety. And I think even 3 years ago that I would have been a wreck over what happened today. But it's this reminder that, every time I feel like something like this happens, it just propels me more to do the things that I do have control over. And so sometimes I can put that angry energy at the world, at these ugly things that are happening, when really that energy should be poured into the things that I know is the next step for me, instead of focusing on what I can't change now, what already happened. And yeah, it's ugly, and yeah, it's frustrating, but instead of spending that energy on something ugly and frustrating, why don't I pour it into something productive and beautiful, something that's going to grow and something that's going to give back? And so that's where I just want to encourage you guys tonight, is on a bigger scheme, everything. My soul is, my spirit is so tender, and I know that I don't have the capacity to know a lot of things going on in the world, and I choose not to. And I do not feel like that is at any, I don't feel like that's a disservice to myself, because I know myself well enough to know that it would hurt me more than it would help me to watch the news. And so that's a choice that I make, and that doesn't mean that I don't know. I feel like I'm very well educated on what I need to know, and it's interesting how I can feel the shifts too. I feel very in tune and very connected with the way people act at the store, and I can come home and ask my husband, what do you know that I don't know? And he'll give me a very censored version of, yeah, there's something different going on in the world. And I'm very observant to people like that, and so I would rather gather information that way than what the news has to say anyways. And so, and that's how I feel in general, is how many people do you know personally, and how has it affected them? And so I feel like that's a very good measure for my own personal life of what is happening in the world, because how many people do you know and how has it affected them? Because that's a more the control, the variable there is more personal, right? We're looking at news across the globe, and is it accurate? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that a lot of things are spread. I remember reading Fahrenheit 451 in high school and thinking, that has come to pass. One of the things that book talked about was these screens on the walls and people watch them, and like these people had their own life, and that was basically projecting of TVs. And now TVs exist, and that's what people do. They sit in their home and they watch a wall. And so part of my class, part of the discussion is sci-fi, like, are these made up things really projecting the future, or is it just giving ideas to create the future? And so I think that sometimes knowing too much, knowing too wide, knowing too broad actually hinders us. I think it actually it makes us freeze. Like, people are so overwhelmed with information that we're not doing anything. Instead of doing the one thing that you could do in your neighborhood or in your community that would make a difference, you look at the globe and say, this isn't going to make a difference. Me going to a community meeting once a month isn't going to make a difference because there's starving kids in another country. And that's not true. We have to start small scale. I so believe that. I so believe that if everybody spent 1 hour a week serving in their community, we would live in a different world. And so I feel like I got a little off there. It fires me up to feel like people get so discouraged that their little contribution won't make a difference. And so they just in turn don't do anything. So my challenge is to trade 1 hour a week and serve. Maybe it's picking up garbage. Maybe it's making meals for a mom or an elderly person in your neighborhood that could use it. There's so many things that if we did the little things, it would make a big difference. So I guess to tie this into the city farm and to gardening, and I probably won't give you a full tour tonight because I feel like the garden is slowing down. The temperatures have been cooling off, which is good. I'm getting ready to transplant a lot of the fall garden out here probably this week. Is on my list this week. We'll see if it happens. And to just encourage you that doing a little bit, could you imagine if every city plot grew food? How much that would take away, how much power that would take away, this decentralization, how it could remove the pressure from the main source of, from grocery stores, and the scarcity mindset could just be evaporated because we would have what we needed in our communities, and the strength and the bond that would be between the people and the community. I can't even, like, it's so powerful, and we're underestimating the little. We're underestimating bringing the little that we have could change the world. And I just believe that's all we are asked to. That's all God asks us to do, is bring what we have, and He'll provide. And I feel like when we come together and we all bring what we have, it equals abundance. It always does. And I'm just going to sidestep here. We've done a handful of things this week that are just so exciting and new things for me, and I just want to encourage you in trying something new. I learned this week that I had no idea, like, making vinegar was so simple. Sugar and a fruit and some water. And that's something that I will be trying very soon. And then I did do carrot fermenting for the first time ever. I also canned my first 4 cans of tomatoes. One of them didn't seal, so 3 of them get to go on my shelf. And then I've been extracting honey. This is my first year extracting honey. I used an electric extractor for the first time. And there's just a lot happening that it feels like the season is slowing down. We found a pear tree down the road. I had put a post on social media looking if anybody had fruit trees locally that they don't harvest, and I got nothing. I got no response. And then I went ahead and put it on. I just was walking down my street and I saw a pear tree as I was talking with one of my neighbors, and asked if we could pick the pears, and then we noticed another plum tree today. So there is food all around us, and it's just going to there's so much food going to waste. It's unbelievable. We also have blackberries at the park down the road from us, and there's an apricot tree. So there's all kinds of resources around us, and we just need to be more diligent. I would challenge you this week to walk around your neighborhood and look for fruit producing trees and see what you find, because like I said, we've been here almost 4 years, over 4 years now, and that is the first time I've ever seen either one of these trees, and they're within a block of us. So, and we've been on the lookout for fruit trees for last year and this year. So yeah, I just want to encourage you to do something new every time you do something new. Also, it's just this you know, it just reminds me of like a Boy Scout badge. I don't know, like, you're accumulating skills, you're accumulating knowledge, and once you do it one time, once you can one time, all the rest of the times are like, oh hey, I've done this before, until it becomes a rhythm, until it becomes natural. But breaking that first threshold of like, I've done it, is a really big step. So I just want to encourage you guys, and yeah, let's see if there's some fun happening on the farm tonight. The lighting looks so different through the camera, and so it's much brighter in the camera than it looks outside. I don't know if you can see all these squashes, just pumpkins and squashes. This is so incredible. There's a few darker ones back there, and even if you look on top, there's that's like a boat squash. I'm super excited about that. That was one of the ones I really wanted this year. I see a spaghetti squash. It's kind of blending in back there. Right. Oh, right there. It's just so fun. These are, you know, there's more up here just laying on top. My spaghetti squash has been the most productive plant this year. I think I've gotten at least 7 off of it. We have harvested probably close to 50 pounds of tomatoes, and I just picked a batch not too long ago, so these are all getting ripe. These flowers, I'm forgetting what they're called. Oh my goodness, but they're gorgeous. They come up in all different colors. The light purple to the dark purple. And, you know, when, oh, see, this is my spaghetti squash. I see 4 just right there. There's a lot of things. There's some big projects that we will do this fall. Oh, there's another one down there. That I'm waiting. I might have an opportunity to recycle an old wooden garage for wood for doing our window greenhouse, so that would be a huge gift. I'm just kind of, I don't have a lot to say about what's going on. The bees are starting to close up for the night. It's getting cooler sooner these nights, so that's good. As we finish up the honey, and this patch I'm going to show you real quick because it's going to look really different hopefully in a couple of days. This was just squashes that grew mostly voluntarily. It took over most of my cucumbers that I actually wanted. So we are going to replant this section with some starts that I have from downstairs, and it's probably cooled off enough that I could go ahead and do that. It's just a matter of motivation, I guess, to get out here, because this soil had way too much nitrogen in it. And so you can see, like, there's 3 pumpkins over here. So this is all going to get torn out, and I did stop watering it because I knew that there wasn't a lot growing in here, and I knew that I was going to be tearing it out, so I've kind of stopped watering it. But hopefully that will be a fruitful cucumber harvest this fall. It's kind of dark in here, but we'll see if I can show you some of this. This has been the harvesting room. This is the tiny house. Oh my goodness, and the floor is so sticky. Okay, so these buckets, we scraped off all the so we uncapped it, use this uncapping tool, and you scrape off the tops so that the honey can run out. So I left them in these buckets probably a week or so. That was just because I was waiting for this machine to come. This is so dark, you guys. I'm sorry. Let's see. So this is the extractor. I'm gonna move it in the light for you. Okay, that's a little better. And I put the top on there. So basically you just put the frames in, you slide them in here, and then on both sides. So this is a 2-frame extractor, and then it's plugged in and you turn it on and it spins it around, and then it comes out the drain in the front. Yeah, you think you clean the honey and then everything is sticky. I don't know how this happens. It's a real problem. Okay, this is the other thing that we worked on today, is these pears, which a lot of them have, you know, they are imperfect for sure. So I don't know that we got one that didn't have some kind of, you know, some of them are worse than others. They have yuck on them. But we still got 7 pounds today, and so we're gonna wait a couple more days for these to get a little more ripe. I heard once that pears don't ripen until after you pick them, and so yeah, we're just letting those sit, and then we'll, in a couple of days, go through and pick out the yellow ones again, and I'm sure that we'll have 2 or 3 rounds of that, getting them all done. It's been really encouraging. We've been getting a lot of sunflower seeds. So we were away for a couple of days, and so my foding got messed up because you have to do it every day. So we kind of let it go and then gave them seed for a couple days while we were gone so they'd be fed. And then coming back, now we have to rebuild that. So it's taken a week to get it where it's sprouting and where it'll be on its regular cycle again. So in the meantime, I didn't have enough just seed to feed them. They went through it so fast. And so it's been really a beautiful thing. I don't have enough food to be giving them, look at those, to feed them all the time on a regular basis, just off of what we have. But in this 2-week overlay, the cool thing is that I have been able to feed them with the sunflowers and the flies, and we have a neighbor who started bringing us food scraps, and we're going to start this system on our porch where we just have buckets, and the neighbors can come and take a bucket and fill it up and then bring it back, so that we just have, you know, we don't have to be here, and they know where they are, and they can just leave them. And so that way we can utilize the food scraps in the neighborhood, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to show you this last section. It looks so overgrown, but I really haven't maintained this section this year, sadly, because my lettuce didn't grow how I anticipated. But we still have some good kale over here, and these green onions look amazing. They look better than the ones in front. This lettuce is like the only one that grew, and I'm so excited because it's going to seed, and I really wanted to collect lettuce seeds this year. These arugula are like all gonna be, yeah, you can see the brown ones, they're dried up. Those seed pods are very similar to the radish seeds. So yeah, there's a lot of you know, the broccoli didn't make it. My husband did pick this cabbage at some point, so yeah, hopefully this section next year, actually in the fall, in a couple of weeks, this will get dug up again, and the peas will probably go over here, and then because thanks to my neighbors, this all gets watered from their watering system. So this is a great place for me to plant things and kind of forget about them. So